Good morning, everyone, and very pleased to welcome you all to our AFBI conference this morning, Shaping Livestock Farming for 2030. I'm Sinclair Mahan, Chief Executive of AFBI, and really just want to introduce our morning chairman and also to give a brief background to the conference. First of all, I'm told that there are no plans to have a fire alarm this morning. So in the event that there is an alarm, it will be the real thing, and the exits are back as you come in, and also this door at the front left-hand side. The aim of today's conference is to consider some of the major global challenges facing the agri-food sector at present, and how these are impacting on the local agri-food sector. And I think we're all well aware of the need to increase food production by around 50% over the next 3 decades in order to meet the needs of an increasing global population. And we have to do this in the context of significant climate change impacts on our ability to produce food in many parts of the world. And we also have a shrinking land area available for food production. So significant challenge there in terms of how we actually ratchet up production on the limited land area that remains. And we're also having to address this issue alongside other major changes at present, such as increased globalization in world food trade and the risks that this brings, as are all too evident recently, the likelihood of reduced subsidy support across the EU, and particularly in the UK post-Brexit, and a new generation of consumers with very diverse and conflicting demands relative to previous generations. So it's clear that if we're going to meet these challenges and grow our industry locally, we need to see a step change in production efficiency, particularly in sustainable intensification, which is producing more from less. And as a scientist, I'm absolutely convinced that if we're really going to deal with these challenges effectively, the role of science in generating new knowledge and driving innovation and improved technical efficiency is absolutely critical. So our objective today is to present a number of examples of how science is being applied globally through our panel of international speakers. I'm pleased to welcome a wide-ranging panel. Not all of them will join us. We have our New Zealand speaker who will join us by Skype later on this morning, so hopefully the technology will suit in facilitating that. And then for each session, we're also going to highlight how AFBI research is making a difference both locally and globally. And in that context, at the end of the conference this afternoon, I'll be pleased to launch our AFBI Impact booklet, which you have in your conference pack, and that highlights some examples of how AFBI science has made a real difference right across the agri-food sector. And I encourage you to have a look through that just to see some of the examples which we'll highlight later. So for the conference today, we've chosen 4 main areas of focus. The morning session will focus around animal health, key to improving sustainability and efficiency and major challenges in that area. We'll then move on to look at some of the new developments in relation to precision agriculture, and particularly how we might apply some of the new precision technologies to grassland systems here in Northern Ireland. And then after lunch, we focus on sustainable intensification, and particularly the whole question of how we produce more and at the same time minimizing our impact on the environment, and 2 very interesting papers in that session. And obviously, no conference this week would be complete without some reference to Brexit. So I'm afraid we are going to have to subject you to another discussion on Brexit, but I think it is important. So we have a paper on Brexit at the end of the afternoon session, which will look at some of the implications for the local and national agri-food sectors. So at this stage, I'm delighted to introduce the chairman for the morning session, Mr. Tim Bennett. Tim is first and foremost a farmer from Carmarthen in southwest Wales. He's also a past president of the National Farmers Union of England and Wales, a past governor of the Institute of Grassland and Environmental Research at Aberystwyth, so he has a good knowledge of what research is currently ongoing. And he's also past chairman of Dairy Co and Deputy Chair of the Food Standards Agency. More recently, Tim was appointed Chair of the Board of the UK Centre for Innovation Excellence in Livestock, or CL, and we'll hear more about that later from Debbie McConnell. And AFBI is a founding member of CL. So we're delighted to welcome you, Tim, and the floor is yours for the morning session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sinclair. I'm delighted to be back in Northern Ireland. As Sinclair mentioned, I'm from West Wales, which is a very similar climate and similar problems to yourselves. So I'm hoping to pick up quite a lot of tips today from the conference. My number one instruction as chairman this morning is to make sure everyone runs to time. And make sure when we get to the discussion session that everyone asks questions and don't make statements. So if I do interrupt you when we get to discussion, we've got limited time, so let's make sure we do get key questions in the discussion area. So I'm really proud to be involved with CL. There's massive new investment in research coming through the Innovation Fund from the Bayes Department, and AFBI have been an absolute brilliant and key partner in building that new researcher capacity to cope with the problems and the issues that we're going to face in the future, which we're going to discuss a lot of today. And I think it's a great opportunity, and it's fantastic that Elizabeth McGowan and others in AFBI have really shaped that agenda. The first speaker today is going to talk about science and the agri-food sector in Northern Ireland. And it's Noel Lavery, for Permanent Secretary at DERA. And I guess we're all rather delighted that he's found the time to come and speak at the conference today, because I don't know too much about the political situation in Northern Ireland, but I guess that Permanent Secretary is a little busier than normal in terms of coping with the day-to-day workload. So absolutely delighted on behalf of the conference that Noel's here to just kick off the conference.